दिल ना उम्मीद तो नहीं ना काम ही तो है, लंबी है गम की शाम मगर शाम ही तो है. So this exam is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So the failure is very inherent part of this examination process. So if you look at the numbers, civil service examination, 10.5 lakh people actually apply for it, and eventually only 660 people make it to the final list. So it is very natural that the failure ratio is going to be high. So when the failure ratio is so high, it is very natural for even the feelings like insecurity, depression, anxiety, insecurity about yourself, your knowledge and everything to come into existence. And I think how to deal with it is the question that everyone asks. So that's why I'm here. Hello everyone, this is Valay Vaidya here. In UPSC Civil Service Examination 2020, I secured 116th ranked All India and stood second in Gujarat. This time around in UPSC Civil Service Examination 2020, the result of which came on 24th of September, I happened to secure 116th rank All India and second all over Gujarat. I am from Vadodara. I was born in Rajkot, but I was raised in Vadodara. Throughout my schooling, I have done it from Vadodara itself, and subsequently I started pursuing my BTech in Information and Communication Technology from Dhirubhai Ambani Gandhinagar. After that, after finishing my graduation in 2016, I started preparing for the civil service examinations of both the UPSC as well as the GPSC. And subsequently, I have appeared 4 times in the UPSC civil service examination, and it was my 4th attempt in which I finally got the success. Subsequently, in 2019, I also cleared the Gujarat Public Service Commission conducted civil service examination, and currently I am serving as the Gujarat Administrative Service Officer, namely the Deputy Collector in one of the subdivisions of Panchmahal Godhra. Overall journey has been a 5-year plan. So while the government stopped its 5-year plan, I had one of my own. Of course, the government did not know about it, but the one this started in 2016 finally came to an end in 2021, and with good results, in fact. So I think I have been fortunate in this regard. When I started preparing after the graduation, I have seen many ups and downs, right? Multiple failures at multiple levels in multiple examinations. I have even appeared for exams like RBI Grade B or even NABARD Grade A examinations. Of course, I did not clear them because that was how tough the nature of these exams are and how the competitive these exams are. But then I can very safely say that when I started preparing in 2016-17, since I come from an engineering background, it was in the subjects of these exams largely pertain to an arts background, right? The humanities subjects, the political science, history, geography, social issues, and so on. So in the initial 2-3 years, I had to prepare a lot to make a very strong foundation of my preparation. I used to study 10-12 hours every day, so as to make sure that the kind of subjects that are there, which I am not familiar with because of my educational background, so I had to get a good grip out of it. And when after I started actually working in the Gujarat Administrative Service, since my foundation was quite strong, so in last 2 years my preparation entailed nearly 5-6 hours of preparation. Because fortunately my foundation was strong. I had a good grip over the subjects, And so ultimately it was the mix of both the hard work in the initial 2-3 years and in the smart work that I happened to do in my last couple of years that I think backed me the success in this very examination. So I also had couple of failures in this 5 years of the examination process. I failed twice at prelims, I failed twice actually at the final stage, and finally I succeeded in my fourth attempt. So it was very natural on my part also to fear, to experience these anxiety, depression, self-doubt, as well as the insecurity about my knowledge, about myself throughout these examination. But there were a couple of things that I did which helped me sail through these tough times, these times when I was actually at the rock bottom. And I'm going to share some of the suggestions that I have that have been helpful to me, and which can also help you whenever you start preparing for this examination, or even whenever you start feeling down in general in your life. So first of all, what I have seen is that we need to start being physically active whenever we are preparing for civil service examination. Since it is a time taking examination, it requires a lot of hard work, a lot of desk learning. So we basically resort to sedentary lifestyle. So we need to make ourselves physically active. Secondly, we need to ensure that we also start pursuing some sort of a hobby, so that we have a getaway from the preparation and the books that we often study for this examination. Thirdly, what I have noticed and what has worked for me is that one should always start ensuring that they take breaks regularly. Because see, ultimately your job, your examination, whatever that your goal is going to be part of your life. Let's not make it our life itself, because we need to make sure that our identity, our self, is much more than an examination or a job. And lastly but not the least, during the preparation, while preparing for this examination, of course the larger goal of making yourself into the list and clearing this examination is very much important. It is also important that on a daily basis we need to set smaller goals. So once we start achieving the smaller goals, we would be able to ensure that our larger scheme of things, the overall achievement of these smaller goals, will lead to more motivation, which will ultimately help you make sure that your mental health remains intact and you are able to achieve the larger goal of clearing this examination. So goal setting is a very important part of your emotional intelligence, your emotional well-being, and overall mental health upliftment. And these are some of the steps that I took which helped me throughout this process to make sure that my mental health remains intact, my overall motivation remains, and I am able to sail through this without getting affected adversely. It is also very important to know that the kind of examination that you are signing up for, what all it has to offer. So when you become an IAS officer, an IPS officer, or an IFS officer, there are some expectations that the society has on you, as well as what the government has on you. There are some authority, some powers that you would get in the process as part of your job profile that many people are not really aware of. So if you become an IFS officer, you would be dealing with diplomacy. You would be dealing in negotiations not just with WTO or a WHO, but you would also be dealing with the negotiations with, say, Afghanistan, climate change negotiations. You would be preparing speeches for a prime minister or a president. So there are various caps that a diplomat dons throughout his career, and from the language trainee in the first couple of years to ambassadors and high commission to foreign secretary. These are some of the roles that an ambassador plays and IFS officer plays. As an IAS officer, Indian Administrative Service Officer, what we have seen is that there are two kind of roles that an IAS officer performs. First of all, the regulatory role, meaning the land revenue administration, the law and order, the magisterial work that they do, the kind of regulatory work that they do in terms of part of the various bodies in the country. And other kind of work is the developmental work that they perform, meaning the urban development, infrastructure development, rural development, and implementation of various schemes like Manrega, Awas Yojana, or Ayushman Bharat, and so on. So this is basically an IAS officer's job in a nutshell. At the same time, if you become an IPS officer, the Indian Police Service Officer, it also ensures that you first of all don the khaki as part of your daily life, and with the khaki comes great responsibility. So the kind of responsibility that you are expected to don are a few. You deal with crime detection, crime prevention, overall law and order management, women security, cyber security, security of various VVIPs, security of overall society, as well as to make sure that in the coming times we would see that more and more crimes would be digital. So digital fraud, cyber frauds are going to be very integral part of the job profile, and all these jobs are very ever evolving jobs. So it is not a very textbook set of, we cannot always highlight and we cannot always bookmark, okay, these are the kind of job profiles that these officers perform. Rather, it is very fluid and it is ever evolving. So these are some of the opportunities that an officer who passes out and who gets selected in these very services happen to work on. So in this age of social media and YouTube, we have seen that many videos circulate, many question answers circulate on WhatsApp and YouTube, especially WhatsApp, which are quite inaccurate as to what is asked in a personality test or an interview in the UPSC. So the questions do not really are such that what Bay of Bengal is in which state, so liquid. I have not encountered a single question of this sort in my 2 interviews that I have given. It is in fact much more detailed in nature. It is based on the detailed application form that you happen to fill before the examination, which covers a lot of your details, your family background, your educational background, your job profile and so on, your hobbies as well. So the question in the actual UPSC interview range from your applications of your job in the administration, your technical questions on your graduation, your work profile and so on. So some of the questions that I was asked, if I give you a glimpse of it, so one of the questions that I was asked was the usage of ICT in agriculture, and if you are posted as someone in agricultural department, how would you introduce ICT initiatives? So that was one such, since my graduation background is in ICT. Secondly, I think other question that I was asked was a current affairs issue that was ongoing in Lakshadweep and the developmental programs that are taken up in Lakshadweep and the controversy surrounding it, as to how would I have tackled it differently if I was the administrator of Lakshadweep. Additionally, I was also asked about the national education policy, what are the benefits it has for learners and what all it has to offer. I was also asked about the Assam Accord, the history of Assam, and some of the international relations questions pertaining to Afghanistan and the crisis therein. So it is much more detailed. Some of the mock interviews you would also be able to find on YouTube, but then it is highly inaccurate to suggest that it is how it appears on WhatsApp forwards. So that is it. I mean, you should it is very fun process, it is very detailed, and one should be able to ensure that one should first of all know that it is not an interview. In fact, it is a personality test. So they are testing your personality in different scenarios. They ask you questions ranging from one topic to other, ranging from one sector to other, so as to ensure that in a limited amount of time, say 30 minutes, how many sectors are you able to cover. So I think it is a holistically developed process of personality evaluation. So I'll give you 5 tips to clear this exam, and which will help you throughout the preparation journey. First is know the why. Why do you want to pursue this civil service as your career? Because if you know the why, you will know the how. Secondly, while you know the why, while figuring out the how to achieve whatever that goal that you have set, it is important that you know the syllabus of this examination. Because if you do not know the syllabus of this examination, it is going to happen such that you are going to diverge from the topics that are mentioned. But if you know it by heart, you would not be able to diverge. So your efforts will be minimized and your outputs will be maximized. Thirdly, while preparing, you should have mental health in the center of this examination. So you should always ensure that your mental health throughout this examination is intact and up to the mark. Fourthly, to keep your eyes and ears open. So whatever video that you see, any movie that you see, any book that you read, or anything in general that you observe in the society, it is very important to keep your eyes and mind open. Because if you are observing, you would be able to address many such questions that appear in prelims and mains examination just by your general understanding of things, just by your observational skills. So it is very important that you observe things and keep your mind and ears open. So analyze it. Don't just mechanically watch or see things. And last but not the least, develop an effective communication skills, because it is very important to basically convey your point just how you want it to be conveyed. It will not only help you in interview or the personality test, but also in general when you go outside the world and you talk to people. So communication skills remains a key quality of a civil servant. So these are the tips that I have for you, and I hope it would be useful. All the best to you and the future aspirants, the existing aspirants, as well as those people who are planning to do it in future, getting inspired from various success journeys of people or just in general. All the best.